Good day to you! So for today's video, we're gonna do a full crossover video. And we're gonna talk about the first cartoon appearance of, well, not quite the Avengers, and almost barely not quite the Justice League, but 100% fully the Justice Friends. So, alright, let's go!
Alright, so we start off with a bunch of superheroes just straight up vanishing into thin air, which is quite horrible. This would include Major Glory, Krunk, and Monkey. They would eventually unvanish with a whole bunch of other characters in a random stadium. And there we see Valhallen, Living Bullet, White Tiger, Capital G, Sam R.I., and Phan Tone. As soon as they wonder what the heck is going on, they all meet this small flying creature named Chromator, who gives us the what on the what. They are all aboard this cosmic coliseum called the Shipodrome. But it turns out the kidnapping is the result of the villainous villain, the Rasslor. He is looking for the toughest and the most skilled wrestlers in the entire universe to give him a worthy and challenging match. But thus far, no one on the other planets he's visited were good enough. And because they sucked so badly at wrestling, well, he destroyed their planet. And Earth is next on his fight card. Not good for us, right? So, with no choice, for the Earth heroes, the battle begins! First up, we have Valhallen, who tries to beat Rasslor with his mighty axe, but nay, he loses easily. So next up is Major Glory, and again, a quick defeat by Rasslor. So next, the mysterious Sam R.I. What a fantastic name, eh? I wonder if he's serving green eggs and ham. Well, it doesn't matter if he does or not because he gets defeated pretty quickly. And Rasslor even taunts him with Dr. Seuss quotes. I do not like you, Sam R.I. Oh man, this Rasslor guy, hey? If it wasn't for the fact that he would be destroying our planet, I'd actually be cheering for him. What a great heel. But who is next to challenge the Rasslor? It is he, Monkey. But Rasslor looks at him and is like, "Oh yeah, no way. I ain't fighting that small little creature, no. He doesn't look like a challenge for me, yeah." So he vanishes Monkey away. But as previously with the other heroes, Rasslor quickly dispatches every other hero like lickety-split. All of Earth's heroes are defeated. Even though earlier in the episode we seen a couple of other heroes in the Hall of Heroes, just hanging out. But I guess they don't count. So the last hero to save the planet is Monkey. Even though Rasslor didn't want to fight Monkey, Monkey is actually doing a pretty good job against Rasslor. He's giving him a run for his money. But eventually, Monkey is defeated quickly and soundly. It's just like the Beatles said in that one song, someday Monkey won't play piano song. And with that, Rasslor is still the undefeated intergalactic champion, which means that Earth is sadly oh, wait a second. What's this? Monkey is trying to get back into the fight. With no success, really, mind you, but he tries. Good golly, he tries. And Rasslor is so impressed by this display of heroism. So he realizes that he can beat Monkey to a pulp, but he cannot defeat him. Because Monkey will never give up. So because this brave little fighter shows the heart of a true champion, Rasslor declares Earth a worthy planet, and it will continue to be not exploded. So Earth is saved. Hooray! And with that is the end of this fantastic tale.
And yes! That episode was total beauty, eh? It was awesome with all these superhero references, but the best freaking part of this cartoon was the fact that the character Rasslor was voiced by the legendary Randy Macho Man Savage, yeah! The cream of the crop rises to the top, yeah! Just the way the guy talks, man, he could be reading the phone book and it would still be entertaining. Oh yeah, we got Joe Smith on Elm Street. And look at this, there's another Joe Smith on Elk Street. Ooh yeah. You know? And yeah, like the superhero stuff too, man. It's like as close to the real characters as you can get. So this little superhero segment was part of the show Dexter's Laboratory, which was created by the legendary Gennady Tartakovsky. And like, man, I gotta say, like, I'm a totally huge fan of the guy, right? Man, like, all of his cartoons are so awesome, man. From the really serious to the really cheesy to the funny, you know, to the whatever, man. Some great work indeed. The really cool thing is, like, when he was young and he moved to America with his family, he had to learn English, you know, like, pretty quick, right? So a young Gennady would learn English by reading Marvel comics. Now that I think about it, potentially from teachers as well, you know, but mostly Marvel comics. So you could really see his love and admiration for the whole superhero genre, especially when it comes to Marvel, and like in this episode, mostly the Avengers. So I do gotta say with this episode and stuff, like everything about it for me is wicked awesome. You got superheroes, you got wrestling, and you got Tartakovsky's work. So if you haven't checked out the show or just this little segment, you know, I suggest you do so, man, because it is pretty gnarly. Kind of like a sophisticated SpongeBob SquarePants, I guess. But now, indeed, there's more to talk about. Everything that happened in this episode, all the behind-the-scenes stuff and whatnot over here.
Yeah, hey? So, you know, really, like, that actually was a pretty good comic book episode. There are an incredible amount of comic book references within this little segment, so let's take a quick look into all of that kind of stuff. So, the story itself might seem really random and out of the blue, but it was based on a really random Marvel comic story. This story took place in Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 7 in 1982. In that story, there was an intergalactic fighter who challenged the most powerful heroes on Earth to a good and fulfilling fight. So that sounds kind of similar, hey? In the comics, the fight was actually a boxing match, whereas in the episode, it was a wrestling match, which, to me, is better, you know, but you know, it's all good either way. So now, let us deep dive into the characters. Rasslor is a reference to his comic book counterpart, Champion of the Universe, or Champion for short. Champion is an ancient being known as an Elder of the Universe, you know, surviving the Big Bang and all this kind of crazy stuff. We kind of assume that Rasslor is pretty much the same kind of thing. It is stated that he was spawned from the very essence of the cosmos itself, which is, you know, I guess similar enough, hey? In the comics, the fight took place in Madison Square Gardens, because why not, you know? Whereas in this episode, the fight took place in the Shippodrome. And it landed in New York City, so kind of like a stand-in for Madison Square Garden. In the comics, the promoter of the fight was called Proja, this scrawny, weird-looking dude, whereas in this episode, the promoter's name is Promator, which is just a mispronunciation of the word promoter, and this Promator is also a reference to that well-known boxing promoter, Don King. You know, with the big hair up the front, the glasses, the rings, the flashy suits, and all that stuff. Next to Promator is the fight commentator, whose name is Mike Mann, which would, of course, be a play on the name McMahon, as in Vince McMahon from, you know, the WWE. So back in the day, Vince McMahon was actually a commentator for wrestling matches, and this is kind of, you know, highlighting that fact in this little cartoon here. Also, the promotional company running this fight is the IWF, Intergalactic Wrestling Forum, which is a bit of a play on the old WWF, World Wrestling Federation, before they had to change their name to World Wrestling Entertainment. But the old WWF, man, that's Macho Man's old company, which is even more fitting that Macho Man Randy Savage is voicing the character Rasslor. So in the comics, Champion was up against many great characters from Marvel Comics, either having the heroes disqualified or just beating them soundly one way or the other, but the end of the story was pretty much the same. In the cartoon, Monkey would not give up the fight, he would still keep going, where in the comics, that portion of the story was done by Ben Grimm, the Thing of the Fantastic Four. So for a really cheesy, quick little kind of cartoon episode, it was actually pretty faithful to the comics. The other faithful part would be the characters. So let's take a quicker look at them. So these characters are part of a superhero team called the Justice Friends, which of course is a play of the names Justice League and its cheesy imitation Super Friends, you know. They even operate out of the Hall of Heroes, aka the Hall of Justice. And the leader of the team is Major Glory. He's a combination of Captain America and Superman. He's a super patriot, pretty much, right? Even though we have had a better version of that character in the Amalgam comics, when those two characters combined to give us Super Soldier. This brings us to Valhallen, a complete ripoff of the Mighty Thor. But you know, if Thor was a Viking and a total metalhead, he doesn't use a hammer, he uses his mighty axe, aka a guitar. And the name Valhallen is kind of a combination of Valhalla, you know, the Asgardian heaven, pretty much, and the name of the classic rock band, Van Halen. We have the infraggable Krunk, who, you know, clearly is a reference to the Incredible Hulk. With a pretty basic design change, Hulk has green skin and usually wears purple pants, whereas Krunk is the opposite. Purple skin and green pants, which realistically is different enough, you know, so nice touch. And the character Living Bullet is a copy of Iron Man. He does kind of resemble Iron Man, but also resembles Exo-Man, which is an old movie ripoff of Iron Man, who is not in fact Iron Man. We also have the hero known as White Tiger, who I think is supposed to be kind of like a copy of Black Panther. But it is kind of funny because Marvel Comics has had a character named White Tiger since 1975. A bit different appearance, I guess. But what is really funny, in Marvel Comics, they did create a new version of White Tiger, and this character was female, but happened to have basically the same costume as White Tiger from this episode. A bit of art imitating art, I guess. There is also the character Sam R.I., which is such a freaking great name. It's a play on the title Samurai and the Dr. Seuss reference of Sam I Am from Green Eggs and Ham. Sam R.I. Man, these guys, eh? Jeez. This is why they get paid the big bucks. We also have Capital G. This is a character who can change his size, even though he didn't against the fight, you know, for the planet in this episode, but still, you know, he can do it. He is mostly based on the character Black Goliath, you know, Goliath, Capital G. We also have Phan Tone. He's kind of like, you know, Vision from Marvel. He can become ghost-like and have things pass through him, or he pass through other things, which is pretty cool. In the Hall of Heroes, we did see Tiki Torch, who is kind of, I guess, like a Human Torch-like character, and Miss Spell, who is basically the Scarlet Witch. There were also appearances of two other characters in the Hall of Heroes, both unnamed and never seen again, but one character that kind of looked like a fuzzy Wolverine, and another character that looked like a combination of Hawkeye and Green Arrow, but those is them. So the Justice Friends actually took over the Dial M for Monkey segment and became the Justice Friends segment. And even beyond that, they did wind up in an episode of the Powerpuff Girls. They weren't known as the Justice Friends there, they were known as the Association of World Supermen. Not every Justice Friends character was in there, you know, there were a few, and a couple other new characters. I guess expanding the whole roster, so it's all pretty good. But it is all good, right? For a cheesy little episode, man, it was actually pretty comic accurate, so good on them. Good on them. And that's pretty much all I have for that stuff for now. Yeah, so with this, that, those, and the other things, I guess that's that. Also, if you guys are interested, I created my own superhero show and I have the first episode out already. The Adventures of the Density. So if you guys would like to check it out, I'll have a link above here and a link at the end of the video for you to peruse there. Yeah, right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.